This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Tuesday, October 10th, 2023. Thank you so much for joining us for today's show. In today's episode, I will visit with Eric Broadbent of Kinze, as I had a chance to visit the Kinze manufacturing facility in Williamsburg. Got to see the new 5000 series planters in person, in action, and that is coming up in today's show. We will also have a check of the ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the closing markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day, we are joined by Jacob Burks of agmarket.net for our closing analysis. Jacob, we had a little bit of a wild start to the week yesterday because of some international news. Has that settled down at all today? What happened in the grain markets?
Grain markets, first of all, we were down significantly in the wheat market again after a strong move up yesterday. Corn and beans kind of swapped places most of the day. We were on both sides of unchanged in both corn and beans all day long. We did catch some positive trade here in the soybean market, where our front months, the new crop November soybeans ended up closing at $12.72. That was up 8 cents on the day. The pressure I thought would come late midday whenever the USDA actually came out and announced that their export inspections were wrong and they had doubled the number. So there was some incorrect information out. I thought there might be some pressure after we realized that, but it didn't. So it was kind of a surprising trade today in the soybeans. Corn market down 2 cents as we wrap things up here around that 486 level in the D's corn.
Jacob, as an analyst, when we get those reports, we go off of the numbers that are in front of us, what we have to go off of. When that's wrong like that, what does that do for you as an analyst, I guess, just in terms of frustrations?
I think the frustrating part of it was, you look and when you see a soybean number that came in at like 1.6 million metric ton, that's a lot of small boats that went under the radar. And I think that the angry part was like, how did we miss it that bad? You can understand as you put smaller boats out of some smaller ports that if they compile the numbers, right under the threshold of the reportable, values, that okay, that can get there. But when you talk about 1.6 million in a week, that was the big surprise. So for it to be a more like 800,000 metric ton, yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Jacob, let's tie this into the same discussion. Those river levels for the Mississippi River, we know are a problem. And then when they're low, the cost to ship that grain, of course, rises. Has that improved at all? Have we seen any improvement on the cost of shipping there?
Yeah, I think we saw it get up to 1,100% barge freight. I think the last I saw this morning was 720 up here in the upper Mississippi. The problem with it, it's not because river levels have gotten better and barge freight is less expensive. It's there's nobody's wanting our beans or nobody's wanting our corn at the Gulf. So CIF values are just relatively common for this time of year. So we are starting to see some exports as we should, and you're starting to look at when does the South American run out? That's basically the question that has to be answered before they have to come to us. We're always the world's reserve of the grains. But, values up and down the river, have they gotten better? Not really. There's been some processor bids that we've seen across the country. Maybe they thought they would be into some more new crop stuff out in the Eastern Corn Belt or maybe even the extreme Western Corn Belt that we haven't seen fulfilled yet. And so you've seen some good spot basis, but it's all spot. It's all what we need right now as far as base levels for the entire harvest season. I think those are still going to stay weak.
Jacob, we have another USDA WASDE report coming out on Thursday. I know that the September and October reports are important because we learn a lot of information there, but could you remind our listeners why that report on Thursday is one that we are really dialed in for?
Well, a couple of things that we saw last week from the quarterly stocks report. So we expect the beginning stocks for this year will go down in the 91 million bushels in the corn. and we actually increased it in the soybeans. So we know the starting points are going to be different for both commodities. So those numbers will have to change. The biggest question, two biggest questions that I have that I'll be looking for first is what do they do with yield? That's we can beat that dead horse all day long if you want to regarding like what we're hearing come out of the fields, and that's the biggest questions. And what do they do with this yield number? That anticipation right now is that they lower the yield number by just a little bit in both corn and beans, maybe even to 49.9, which is sub 50. Might be a psychological thing for the market on the beans. 173.1 is the average guesses right now in the corn market. Personally, I think that's if we're around those numbers, it's 6 one, half a dozen the other, because the demand side of the balance sheet is what has to be guesstimated. What are we going to have come next August, especially if things stay the way they did this year, and we watch the demand just steadily fall down off of that number. And now you're talking about the big crop that could potentially be in South America. So there's a lot of questions that the USDA has to guess as far as what that demand number is going to look like. And I don't want their job, and that's a tough prediction to make.
Switching over to the other side of the ag marketplace, what did we see with the livestock today?
Well, I'm kind of pleased with where the livestock, especially the feeder cattle and live cattle, haven't went. And I think the biggest thing I saw over the weekend, I was very nervous when seeing the stock market fall off and the economy in ravels, and just wondering what all the what ifs was coming. And we stayed pretty steady. We've held some of this support in the feeder cattle, and we know the dynamics of that cattle market has not changed a whole lot other than the demand. We've been worried about the demand for a long time. And realistically, we're still in a decent level. So, being down $1 in the back months here of the feeder cattle, we're up a couple bucks, $1 anyway at the close here in the front month of the feeder cattle. A little bit of a mixed bag in the live cattle, but not a big change here. Hog market was what fell off here. $1. We're trading in that 71 level. We saw cutouts down again here today. And we've seen a large influx of Canadian hogs into the United States. So our inventory is pretty healthy. But I would say that the volatility is still in the hogs. We're still trying to figure out where that needs to settle out. But I've been kind of pleased with how the cattle trade here amongst all the pain in the world.
Jacob Burks of agmarket.net, our guest today. Jacob, what's the best way for our viewers to get in touch and to personalize their marketing plan?
Yeah, just take a look first at our 30-day trial of our intel. That's all of our commentary. From there, you can learn a little bit about us. You can give us a call here. You can find us on all of our brokers are on the About Us portion of our website. Just go in there. We got all of our phone numbers and emails listed. Love to talk to you.
A lot of great information and tools from agmarket.net. Jacob, thank you as always for the time. Have a great rest of your day.
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me.
Thank you to Jacob Burks of agmarket.net for our closing market analysis. It's time now for the closing numbers, and those numbers courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. December corn down 2 3/4 at 485.5. November soybeans up 7 1/4 at 1271.5. December soybean meal up $2.90 at $377.50. December soybean oil down 70 cents at $53.23. Chicago wheat down 13 1/2 at $5.90 even. Minneapolis wheat down 7 1/2 at $723 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat down 14 3/4 at $671 1/4. March oats down 10 even at $428 1/2. On the Merc, December live cattle down 35 cents at $185 even. November feeder cattle up 70 cents at $250.35. December lean hogs down $1.05 at $71.42. And December pork cutout down 87 cents at $81.90. And that wraps up our closing market coverage here on Ag Matters PM. It's time now to take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. And when we come back, I will be joined by Eric Broadbent of Kinze Manufacturing. That's coming up next here on Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
You're watching Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. In today's show, I'm joined by Eric Broadbent of Kinze. Had a chance to visit the Kinze manufacturing plant in Williamsburg and learn all about the new 5000 series planters. Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm here today with Eric Broadbent at Kinze, and we are in Williamsburg, Iowa. We are at the home of Kinze. As you can see, we are in a little bit of the showroom right now, and we're here for a kind of a field day, kind of an inside day, as well as we're learning about the new 5000 series planter. Eric, what is the most exciting thing about the release of this planter that was unveiled at the World Machinery Expo, and now we've gotten to see it kind of for a few months and learn about this new piece of technology?
Right. Well, really, it starts off with the 5000 series row unit and all the things that we have done to enhance that and really minimize maintenance, minimize that schedule of downtime to perform, and just ease of completing some tasks that are more of a maintenance item, kind of some repair, long life, trying to build that into the row unit and just provide an enhanced, another version to an already great row unit that we had previously.
And that's an interesting term, enhanced, because I think you're right, Eric. It didn't seem like it's any kind of an overhaul between the last year's series or the last series of planter to this series. It's just more fine-tuning, it seems like, at this point, of what individual farmers, what groups of farmers are coming to you with as far as suggestions and things that would help them.
Absolutely. So that's where we get a lot of our great ideas, is directly from the farmer. We spend a lot of time in focus group, a lot of time doing events like what we did here today, learning what it is that provide them some pain points. What do they need some relief upon? And, you know, these farmers today, there's always this pressure on time, and they don't get any more of it. The window seems to increasingly shrink down upon them at spring planting. And so one of the things that they said is, how can you make me give me more uptime every day when I'm running? And so what we did with the 5000 series row unit, we took a lot of the daily maintenance items completely out, made some other things a little bit easier for them to perform some of those maintenance items on, but really trying to give back to them some of that precious commodity that's called time.
And when we think about, as well, owning machinery and the ability to fix your own machinery, Eric, we saw a lot of pieces today that you can fix by hand without tools. There are plastic parts in some cases that come apart, and you can fix them right in the field if you had an individual piece of the row unit that you needed to adjust.
Absolutely. So that's kind of a big thing for us. You know, these tractor cabs, while they are spacious today, you don't want a whole toolbox inside the cab rattling around with you. So trying to make it easy, trying to simplify things, you know, using thumb screws where we can, using, you know, tabs and locking tabs and those kinds of things where you can disassemble these things, put them back together with confidence that they are assembled correctly and that they're going to stay together correctly. But trying to do that so that in the event that you do have something that you need to inspect or perform a repair, or even as simple as a crop changeover. So if you're going to switch from corn to soybeans or soybeans to corn or some other crop, you can do that pretty much without having to go to the toolbox.
And I also noticed how you clearly have been listening to your farmer users, because there were some things that, when we think about trends, planting early and farmers wanting to get in their fields a little earlier, you have now a lot of different scrapers on the pieces of the wheels, and then also the actual gears that turn, and it scrapes off any residue that would be there. It's just those things like that that can tell that you are listening to the users that are coming to you with ideas.
Absolutely, we do. We do try to listen. We take a lot of pride in the fact that, you know, we try to utilize that valuable intelligence that we gain from them. You know, a lot of times farmers think, well, I go to Kinze, I'll learn about the planter. A lot of times it's the other way around. We're learning about these operations and what they need. And if they're trying to plant earlier in a stickier, muddier, wetter condition every year, year after year, we've got to respond to that as a manufacturer of these equipment in order to stay relevant in their operations.
And could you talk a little bit as well about the vacuum system and the ability to run at speed with these planters also, if you are in a time-sensitive situation or if you are someone that likes to operate your planter that quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. So starting back with the 05 series planter, the 4905, the 4705, 3665, that series of planter, we did a lot of work to enhance the performance of the vacuum system, the hydraulics as well, the bulk fill system, the entrainer that hangs underneath the bulk fill tanks. We did a lot of that to improve the performance of those and to minimize the amount of vacuum air needed in order to move the seed to the row.
And then with your monitoring system in the cab, it is done, all the work on that piece of equipment is done in-house now. It is a system that can talk then, I guess, between the manufacturing side, the mechanical side of your operation here at Kinze, to the technology side. Has that made it easier to be able to have that open line of communication so close?
Oh, absolutely, it has. No, we benefit greatly from that, and it's a wonderful thing to have that at your disposal. Absolutely.
So, Eric, when you think about this series of planter going forward, what do you think farmers are going to enjoy about it the most when they're thinking that this could be something that they're potentially interested in?
Well, I think delivering on the promise of we're going to give you some of those minutes, and those minutes add up to hours on some of these planters. I mean, when you're talking about removing on a 24-row planter more than 80 daily grease zerks from the markers to the actual row unit, that is something that really delivers on a promise that, hey, I'm going to be able to run just a little bit longer every day, which means more acres every day. So when I'm able to plant, I'm able to run. That's what they really want. They want more and more uptime, because labor is a tough issue for our farmers as well. And so you only have so many hours of the day, and we're going to try to maximize that for them as best we possibly can.
And then, Eric, just to wrap up, we know it's been very difficult to manufacture equipment completely the last few years, but could you tell us about that start to finish timeline now? Has it gotten back to more what you've been used to before we had so many disruptions?
Yeah, I would say that we're smarter with what we're doing today. I think that it still takes the same amount of time, of course, to build a planter if you have all the components needed to complete it, and that's the big thing. We're smarter today. We understand what the supply chain has done to us all, and how do we need to modify the way we go to business in that environment. And so with that, we're having to buy further ahead. We're having to look further out in order to make sure that we have the components necessary to complete a planter so that we can deliver on time.
So we're here today at the Kinze Innovation Center in Williamsburg, and like Eric has been talking about, a lot of innovation on display with these new 5000 series planters. Eric Broadbent, our guest here today. Eric, thank you so much for the time. Exciting time with this new series of planters, and best of luck going forward.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming out. It's been a great day.
Thank you to Eric Broadbent of Kinze for our interview today. It's time now for a check of the ag weather outlook. It is officially fall here in central Iowa. I say that because this morning certainly felt like fall. It was very cool. Had a little bit of frost on my windshield for sure this morning. Didn't make life easy when you were driving into the sunlight, but it's still great to have that sunshine outside, and that's what we got today as it warmed up into a fairly nice day around the state of Iowa. Tonight, those cooler temperatures will continue, mostly a quiet evening, but then tomorrow we start to look at the forecast and some moisture, some rainfall, even some chances for showers and thunderstorms in Iowa tomorrow. So certainly an eventful day on the horizon. So let's turn our attention now to the National Weather Service and what's in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, mostly sunny skies, 62 to 69 degrees today. Variable cloud cover with isolated chances for showers this evening, and low temperatures expected 35 to 51. Tomorrow, widespread chances for showers and thunderstorms, with the highs expected 60 to 77. And now taking a look at our affiliate weather map for tomorrow. Cherokee seems to be the quiet spot on the map, mostly sunny on Wednesday, with a high around 65. Shenandoah, a chance for thunderstorms, highs around 77. Des Moines, a chance for showers on Wednesday, then a chance for thunderstorms, high of around 62. Albia, showers likely, then a chance for thunderstorms, and a high of 63. Waterloo, a slight chance for showers, then a chance for showers, high around 62. Clinton, chance for showers, then showers likely, and a high of 60. For a more detailed forecast in your part of the state, make sure and check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. They will have your local weather information up to date for you. With that, brings us to the end of the Ag Weather Outlook. That also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. While you're there, don't forget to sign up for our daily newsletter as well that delivers our 5 daily stories to your email inbox. Also, you can find us on YouTube. While you're there, click on the subscribe button, also the notification button that will let you know whenever we have any new videos for you from the IARN. And don't forget our free twice daily market podcasts, which are found on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. For Riley Smith, Dustin Huffman, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.